Now you can see here, I'm in the process with this other little pup in stitching everything down. Now, in these dogs, you can see I tried to be, I like making the chest a little wider and the back end a little bit more narrow. Now, felt moves around a lot. And for these in particular, I'm using 100% wool on the top and a wool blend on the bottom. I know that this wool blend, this wool acrylic blend, is going to be move around even a little bit more. Wool moves around less. 100% wool moves around less when you're sewing it. And the reason when I say moves around, I mean it'll get stretched, it gets pulled. Even when you're cutting it out, you're moving things around. So you can see here, I've got everything pinned exactly where I want to go, about every 3/4 of an inch, sometimes a little more. Now you can see here, this is a little not right. It's about 3 millimeters off. Now, as I sew around here, I'm going to continue to pull and push the felt around. It may be by the time I get here, it's only 1 millimeter off, or maybe 2 millimeters off instead of 3. I'm not going to have a heart attack about it because this is going to be rammed up inside the head of the little pup. Now, it may seem like a lot of work to do all of this. I do this because I want it to be a certain way. And you can see I've gone through and I've anchored my stitches here. And then I can't quite do my regular, I can't quite hold it with 3 fingers and a thumb. So I kind of have to do it this way. Now, when you've got all these pins in the way, it makes, oh God, it irritates me so much. Sometimes the threads, and I'm using just DMC floss here for this, get in the way, and it really, they get knotted, they get around things. So I have to pay a pretty close attention to what I'm doing. And yes, in answer to the questions, do I jab myself under my thumbnail? Of course I do. Does it prevent me from working? No. Now you can see here, I was talking about this is moving around. Even though I pinned this so that these two were even, it's not even anymore. So by the time I pull this out, I've got to take this and pull it and push it just a little bit to get it more even as I'm going along. So, and especially on these stretches where I'm doing something long, I try really hard to concentrate on what I'm doing, and I'm always changing my hand position because I want things. And then sometimes there are things that's like, that's never going to match. It's never going to match, and it's going to drive me nuts. This is the kind of stuff that I do. This is going to drive me nuts. I have to go on and give it just a teensy little bit of a shave. Another thing I like about working with felt is that sometimes I can just go in and grab something and nip it off. I also stop and check to make sure I'm not getting too many shallow stitches, which really bug me. I'm looking at this side in particular because I want to make sure, because this is a wool acrylic blend, that I'm getting at least 1.5 millimeters, almost 2 millimeters in. So when I'm stuffing, it doesn't pop the seam, because that is really irritating. So I'll continue all the way around with that, and then I start stuffing. Now, when I was talking about popping seams, I will stop and I'll look along here once it's all stuffed and see if there's any areas that I feel look kind of, for lack of another term, like garbage. And do I need to cover anything up? Because these little patches and little things, these do wonders for covering up things that you don't want anyone to see. But I have to take into account that the head's going to come down about this far. So I don't think that there's anything egregious here. Sometimes my knots don't look great and I'll cover something up, but this stretch looks pretty good. And knowing that there's going to be a leg covering this up and a leg that's going to be covering up half of this, I'm going to be putting on the little bunghole here and the little tail. Everything should look pretty good. So I'll see you in the next video.